Hello, everybody. I'm almost on time. You could say, you know, um, usually a little bit later. At least I have been. Today I just felt I needed to come on um, right at 9, or I guess right now. That's basically how I roll. I don't um, when it comes to doing things. I was going to go on Instagram Live, but I have to charge my phone because it was almost dead. And it's fucking weird today. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just fucking weird. Hi Amanda on my Mary June Tracy page. Hello, hello. So I'm gonna be there so I can see who comes on there. So it's kind of ah you know, okay, we have the forward energies. The energies are going forward, right? Until well, I sort of like go in because Pluto's been sitting at this degree, sort of shaken there for a while, and he's going to be starting to do his backward motion on the full moon. And the thing is, what's weird about this? What's weird? This is the weird part. Is that the full moon in Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, who is going retrograde at the same time of the full moon on Monday. And with that energy, I mean, it is like that's your ruler. So your ruler all of a sudden is starting to, reverse back. And in that reversal, he's going to be going back up to 22 degrees. And that 22 degrees of looking at things and looking at the world. And I think this is where really weird, crazy shit is going to start coming out. This is where I think, really, things that have been sort of hidden because when I'm looking at and feeling all the energies and the information that's being presented to us and the illusions that are being made, there is just this intensity of, you don't think it could get any crazier? I giggle because I know it can. I know it can, but it's kind of like we it's like, well, what do you mean? How can it get crazier? When it with the outside world, but it can get crazier with the outside world, even though we don't want it to get crazier with the outside world. There is this energy that's coming forth in it's like those who've been so indoctrined by all the falsities and the media and all of those who've been following this crazy narrative, we're just gonna see things just get really blown out of proportion. And when it comes to, I didn't even notice I didn't even have my mic close to me, so sorry guys. The thing is that if when you look at this energy and when you start to feel into this energy, this is where you have to go into your truth. Like yesterday I was talking about your sovereignty, your blueprint, your fortification. This is where you really have to step into this truth of self and truth of who you are. And really, this is like, especially with Mars at 29 degrees Gemini, like that's intensity. Remember, it's at 0 and 29. Those are crazy degrees in a sign. So there's this intensity that's coming in and coming forward for us of really, this is where we really have to sort of buckle down and really trust in our divine, trust in what's going on, because there's going to be people that are going to be fucking like, I got this morning, we got the Empress card upright, we got Justice reversed, and then we got the Tower reversed. So we know there's more stripping down. Like we are so wanting to go towards our bounty and our abundance and our spirituality, and Venus is there, and Venus is in Taurus, and definitely want to go into it and go into that um energy. I'm just looking at somebody, um and she's like 10 a.m. to in an hour. So this intensity that is coming through for us is pretty erratic, and that when the tower is reversed, like even more stuff is going to be shaking out, even more is going to be um coming through, and that in that in itself with the justice card is like really taking a look at our priorities and what are your priorities of what it is that you need to do. I mean, the moon in Virgo, yes. I mean, she wants to get things done. She wants to get it organized. And trying to organize your life and trying to organize the things that you need to do and the projects that you've had maybe piling up, starting to work on them and going through in amongst all of the crazy energies that you may feel or see around you. I feel like we're going to be showing some really nutty things that are going to come through about what is being told to us and trying to guilt us into, and I feel like guilting us into some kind of crazy narrative. And I just, what's really, I did a channeling a few months ago, and the channeling of like of our leaders and the energies of our leaders and coming through and all of what's being, something is holding them, something is coming where there is such, and this is where Pluto's going to come in, because Pluto's is going back, and it's going back over those degrees, those degrees that we came through, right through. So as Pluto went forward, it was going, and he goes slow, but as he goes forward, but he's also in the area of his orb where he makes that descent into the underworld. So making that descent into the underworld, and then he's gonna, go backwards, and as he's going backwards, he's going, all of this that we may not have seen or looked at, or the conspiracies and information that some of it might be that we didn't look at, that we didn't want to look at. And that's where, when it comes to acknowledging parts of ourselves or acknowledging things that are not working for us, this is what we need to really begin to look at, because that full moon in Scorpio opposite Taurus is like looking at your boundaries and your foundation, and what are your boundaries, what is that of your fortification of yourself, and how are you fortifying your energies, not only for you personally but maybe for your family or your business. And with that full moon coming up is going to bring in some intensity. And as we move forward, and Venus meeting up with Uranus and then squaring Saturn afterwards, and then Mercury meeting, it's like boom boom boom, and then next week the Sun meets up with Uranus and then squares off Pluto at the beginning of May. So we're coming into this turbulent water. It's like it looks calm. It's like, it's a very calm day. It looks beautiful outside, yet you can see on the horizon the storm is starting to brew. And that's where that's where we're at. The storm is starting to brew. And what does that entail? What do we need to border up? What do we need to get into place, right? So this is looking at the things that we need to get into place. What do you need to get into place? And and have secure in your life. And that's where, with this Venus going, I mean, it seems so exciting to be up, oh, what kind of crazy changes can Uranus bring? And what are the, what are the things we need to put into order, with that moon in Virgo over the next couple days? And tomorrow with Mars going into Cancer, because that's where we're going to be feeling like real. He doesn't like it. It's watery. It's not where a warrior wants to be in this water. And with all the mood changes that are going to be coming through over the next 2 months with him being in Venus or being in Cancer, because when you have a that in your chart, you're usually you're a little bit erratic. uh and you can have a little bit of craziness about you, and it could be like you one day you feel like doing this and the next day you're doing something totally different. You might or change the whole thing around. So that's definitely the energies of Mars in Cancer. So we do have it's preparation. I think we're starting to get into the prep stage again. And I know there's more craziness that's coming forward. There's more lockdowns definitely coming in, or mandatory shit coming in. This is where it's like, you know what? I just, it's just too many people following the crazy mandate and lining up in those fucking lines and getting into the fear mode. And that's what scares me. Out of everything, it's people not listening and not really standing in their true divinity and thinking that this is the be all end all of a miracle that's going to happen. And I was watching something where, the newscaster was basically said this is like almost like this is the closest you could get to a magic wand. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, really? Are you saying that? Like, how ignorant, how much are you getting paid for this narrative, or how are you so scared that you if you don't say what's in front of the prompter, you're going to lose? And here we're, for some of those, I think it's almost like you're going to lose like so much more than what you ever thought you would lose. And this is, I just feel like a time to really begin to awaken. And that's where this rumbling of this storm's coming in. That's where, years ago, I made some predictions. I made a prediction like moons ago about the border being closed, and people like, what do you mean? I'm just like, I don't know how, but I know the border between the United States and Canada will be closed in some way. And it is. And this is where my next thing is that I also said I can also see some form of draft coming in, and drafting. So that's the other thing, is like, because they want to create a world that you have yes people. And I'm just like, this is where when I was watching Venus After Dark, and they're talking about Versailles, and how the king would basically ghost people. So if you didn't do what he said, he had it in place where he didn't really have to say anything. He would just look and kind of shun that person, shame them, and move over. There was where you weren't allowed to move until the king told you to move. You weren't allowed to and some people would stand there and back then women didn't wear underwear because of all the stupid clothes that you'd wear. I mean, it would be ridiculous because you couldn't pull your pants, you couldn't get down to pull your underwear down anyways. But they would piss themselves right there, and that's the whole thing. It's like, people are standing there, they're afraid to move, they're afraid to do anything because, oh my God, this guy, this politician must know something, which he knows fuck all, and just totally destroying things. And here's this energy of saying, you know what, if you just have some guts and go forward and do what the hell you are supposed to be doing, we can create something that is so beautiful and so prosperous. But you're sitting there with your fucking head up your ass, so afraid to come together, to join together, and knowing that in doing that will create massive change. But we're following this old narrative that it is an old narrative. It is an old narrative that has been repeated many times before, and it's being repeated again. And I know many of you out there are just like, fuck it, Mary, I'm tired of listening to this bullshit. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to go away. I mean, we're in this till 2024. We're in this, and then that is where crazier changes are going to hit. But it's always where we're given choices. We're given choices along our highway on what road you want to go, where do you want to put your energy, and how is that going to create for your future. That's, this is where, in 2019, in March of 2019, when Venus met up with Uranus, and then she met up with Uranus last year. So this is coming in. She's saying, what is it that you truly want to create here? 3 times the charm, right? So this is, coming in where even in 2019, when she met up and he said, you know what, I'm going to be bringing some craziness in for us all. And, she's like, oh, well, she goes, what kind of craziness could you bring in? He goes, well, just wait and see. There's going to be some disruptions happening in people's lives and disruptions in our world, hence 2020. And then she met up with him last year. She goes, well, what now? What? He goes, well, you got to start looking at how you are going to fortify yourself. How are you going to create the world you want to create? What is that going to look like? And she's like, oh, in amongst all of this? And he goes, yes. And then he comes up to 2021 and saying, hey, are you doing it? Are you really creating the world that you want to create? Are you really stepping into the beauty and the abundance of your truth, of your divinity? If not, we got some more craziness that's going to take hold here. And so I'm going Instagram Live, but I have to charge my phone. There we go. I'm going to turn this off. There you go. So she is fortifying. You don't work on earthly time, MJ. No, I don't work on earthly time. That's the thing. Is like my that's why sometimes I hate going to sleep, because of the things that come through. And it sounds, I'd rather just, work, or do, read or whatever it is, and then fall asleep. That probably, because last night I didn't get to sleep till probably 12:30 last night. And then of course I was up at 5:00 this morning because we had meditation. But that's the thing, is that because of the energies, and I can feel it. And I've said it before, this all roots down to that one man, because there's so much information and you're not going to see it revealed. You're not going to see any of this fucking shit come out on half those politicians until either they're dead, buried, or gone. I was watching some guy last night. He goes, yeah, I got stuff on them. I'm going to take them to court. Like, fuck, you're going to take them to court to what? To a magistrate? They're not even true magistrates anymore. True judges anymore. That they probably have shit on them too. This is like where Pluto going retrograde. This is like a whole huge cleanup. And you want to do the cleanup now before Pluto goes into Aquarius, because when he goes there, that's just bringing in other shit. That's all I got. Like, it's just gonna bring in other shit that we have not want to look for or look at. So this is where, when I think of, people say, oh, who is Oz, and when is Oz going to be revealed? I think Oz has been revealed a couple times. There's been a few different ones, but it was Toto, the dog, who revealed Oz. It's Toto who jumped out of the fucking basket, who said, "I'm not staying with that bitch." That's that's the thing. Is Toto is the one who was this cute little puppy who went around, and he's the one who revealed things. And sometimes that's it. It's the ones that you're not suspecting. It's that person. It's not the huge big wig out there. It's not going to be the Kardashians are not going to reveal shit for you. I mean, they're not going to disrupt their life. They're not going to disrupt their billions of dollars. I mean, she just became a fucking billionaire. Like, do you think those people who have billions of dollars are wanting to disrupt any of this? No, they don't. And the disruptions never happen with the elite. It doesn't happen there. It happens with the guy who's plowing his fucking lawn and saying, you know what, this is bullshit. That's where it comes. It comes through the disruption of the grassroots. And that's why they want people to be standing in line, getting the jab in the arm. And you're going to find, and I'm going to say this now, you're going to find some crazy bullshit because people are getting a jab in the arm and the other person didn't, and that person dies, or something like, ooh, look at, if you don't get the jab in the arm, your loved one is going to die, or some kind of crazy bullshit. And they want to grab you. Well, if you want to travel, if you want to live a normal life, how is that fucking normal when you are having to line up and say, do this? Go back to what Hitler did in the 30s. That's when Uranus was in Taurus. Go back and just start doing some research on different parts of history, even the storming of Bastille. I mean, when they stormed the Bastille and everybody ran out, I mean, half of them shouldn't have been there anyways. That was the beginning. And the thing is that there were, and we would have called them terrorists. There were people that set this up for taking over and storming the Bastille. Because you got to think, how did they get in there? There must have been some kind of connection, right? In order for them to take it over. I keep on bringing up the French Revolution. I don't know, but I must be channeling that today. Bringing that and taking that, and having that come over. Same with when King Henry VIII decided to write the Bible. That's the first time the Bible was written in English. And you know who wrote the Bible, the King James Bible? Shakespeare. That's why it's so flamboyant and has all of these twists and turns in it. I mean, it was him. He wrote the Bible with King Henry VIII on what he wanted to have as a narrative in there and within his interpretation. That was the first time that the Bible was written in English and people could read it. Before that, it was the powers that be. The powers that be want you to follow this certain narrative, because if I can control you, if I can make you not read or write, why do you think kids aren't learning cursive? Think about it. I had to go into the school and argue for my son to learn cursive writing. And that's Owen. Because he can't read cursive. So when you look at some doctrines, that old doctrines, they're in cursive writing. To him, it's like reading hieroglyphics of, on the side of a pyramid. He can't read it. So it's important. This is like, these are, sometimes people say, oh, it's nothing. And that's what the stupid bitch told me. She goes, oh, it's nothing. They don't need to learn cursive. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So you this Gen X or whatever it is, and some of the millennials can't write. They can only print. So we have this indoctrination that has been happening to us for a long time. And the energies have been coming in and saying, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? Have you looked at this? And they learn cursive in grade 4. That's the age that kids start to learn cursive. So if your child is in grade 4 and he's not learning cursive, there's a reason. Because there's a whole generation out there that can't read it. Unless you're in some elite school or some kind of school, then maybe they will learn it. Otherwise, they won't. Because they don't think it's necessary. Transformation change. Pluto going retrograde. Full moon Scorpio. Wow. I mean, God's trying to give us some signs here. But I don't want, I don't want to disrupt my status quo. I don't want to do this. And this is where when especially, and you got to look at the psychology of this, right? The psychology. I know I used to do cursive writing. I used to do calligraphy. I love calligraphy. Well, you got to look at the reason, the thing is about cursive writing or getting off of my thing, the changes or what they're doing, the psychological effects that they are doing upon us right now by separation of family, which is horrible, where it's illegal for you to be with your family, but it's okay for all of these sports dudes to chum around and party and bring in prostitutes or whatever the fuck they do. That's okay because it's their bubble. So these are things like, this is like part of the awakening. This is part of, oh, this is happening. Oh, this is happening. When we go back to the Renaissance and Da Vinci doing, the reason is that he did certain masterpieces and he had information in all of his things and saying, this is the kind of shit that's going on. Are you guys paying attention? And I was talking to an English major professor, and she said to me, she goes, do you know that King Henry VIII was gay? And I went, no, I didn't. I thought he was. No, she goes, he had a lot of gentleman friends, but he wrote one of the biggest things that he wanted to protest against is that was dirty, because he didn't want to be shunned upon, right? And of course, the whole thing about the Tudor family and the War of the Roses and things like that, because the family was cursed. And his mother said, if you do this, you are going to be cursed. And he did it and they were cursed. Anyways, part of history. But changes are happening. The way that a lot of these wars are going to be happening are going to be wars of internet. We're going to see when it comes to bringing in, psychological warfare. You're going to find that more people are going to be having their own platform or TV station. So they're going to be going upon doing things a little bit differently. And some of those, you have to have money in order to create those things and to have those kind of platforms. And you're going to find that, they're going to make sure that you can't get to where you want to go right now. Like, with Gemini's going to be going retrograde on May 29th in Gemini. Mercury's going to go retrograde in Gemini on May 29th. I wouldn't be going anywhere. Just saying. Because when Mercury's retrograde in Gemini, that is fucked up. And with a South Node Sag, we're gonna see plane crashes and all kinds of crazy shit happen with that. Because Mercury's coming into his home sign. He's saying like, okay, what do we need to clean up? Oh, hang on. Very similar, like how Mars was retrograde in Aries last year. It's like, okay, I'm here. Oh my God, look at all the cleaning up that we have to do. Look at all the things that we have to get together. How many people had court cases that happened during Mercury retrograde? How many people had things just come up and erupt during Mars retrograde last year? Things had to get cleared up, get fired up, get them going, right? And, because Mars is all about a battle and bringing that battle. And we're also going to be seeing with Uranus, Saturn is also going to be going retrograde on May 23rd. And he is going to go, and that's when Uranus is going to square Saturn instead of Saturn squaring Uranus. So that's going to bring in some other disruptions. So May is going to be crazy. Crazy, people. Crazy, cray. So we're, that's when they started doing some of the major lockdowns for last year. So we're going to start seeing things really start coming down, the hammer starting coming down on us. So this is where it's like, holy shit, and the things being said, like, if you don't do this, well, I'm sorry, these people over here aren't doing that jab in the arm. So you know what? Be mad at them, because that's the reason you're locked down. Fucked up. So we need to step into our power. Schools might be shutting down. Yeah. So I know they're going to really try and keep the elementary schools open, but I mean, if certain things start really closing down, but because you got to notice that anything that Ford does, little baby Kenny follows. He's not too far behind. And that doesn't mean, and that's also where, even with BC is going to be starting to shut down a lot more too, and being stricter on, they're saying until the May long weekend, till the end of the May long weekend. No, I'm going to say that BC is going to be shut down for most of the summer, because they don't want anybody there. They don't want to bring anybody in there. And why is it so crazy that they don't want any Albertans anywhere? So, I mean, they keep pushing more and more fear. Yeah, they are. They keep pushing more and more fear. And it's frustrating. It is frustrating. I know that the frustration's there, and it's showing up on us. Sorry if you're getting any background noise with that. Kenny just cares about Stampede. Yeah, that'll be interesting how they're going to do Stampede. The thing is that with Stampede, because it's a separate corporation, they can make it mandatory that anybody who goes onto the Stampede ground has to have a vaccine. So that's another fucked up thing. It's like, ooh, I just want to go party, get shit-faced, fuck somebody, which will because I can have, so I'm going to get the shot in the arm. So I can go eat some stupid deep fried food that like deep fried chocolate bars or something, or deep fried butter. I think they had that one year. But whatever it is, so I can just go do this, right? No, they didn't have it last year, but they're planning on having it this year. So, I mean, the city lost millions of dollars without having it. But that's the other thing too. It's like, who's coming in for it? Or are all the concerts going to be virtual? That's, this is cracking you up this morning. And yeah, this is what happens when I only have like 4 hours sleep. It's like my guides say, oh, she only has 4 hours sleep. I could get her really going around. That's why they are opening the vaccines now for 40 and older. Yeah. Oh, they're going to lower it because I mean, it's not the 40-year-olds that they want in there. They want the fucking 20-year-olds in there, and that so that they can go whole round and get drunk and do their shit, because they're the ones who are going to spend the money. So the 40-year-olds are going to go there and then get home and have a divorce. That's what the 40-year-olds are going to be. That's that's what it's It's fucked up. That's all I got to say. And I'm not, for me personally, and I'm not getting a poke. I'm not following a narrative. I'm not getting a test. And because I know it's almost where this, God is watching, and yes, the light will win, but it's to get through. It's to get through all of this, right? And how do you get through with all of this? It's like you're standing in your power, into your sovereignty, not to fall for the fear. And as I said to some people, and this is the next thing, working in the public, and if you're not vaccinated, do you want to be out there with people who are? Because there are information, this is another little conspiracy, but this is where it's like you don't always get the whole fucking facts on everything, but it's where they're talking about where you get the vaccine, but then you can spread the COVID once you get the vaccine. So it's like, because they're finding that people who have gotten the vaccine and they go home, and some of the family who has not gotten the vaccine, they gotten COVID. How the hell are you getting COVID if you're supposed to be so bloody well locked down? I mean, who wants to move to Texas? Who wants to move to Florida? I'll go there because I'll go by the beach. I feel, you know what? I think I could travel through the United States a lot easier than I could through Canada. And yes, the United States, whatever, they're fucked up, whatever. So is Canada. But at least I can go places that are warm, even in the winter time. And that's what I look at. The thing is with Canada, okay, I can travel to the Atlantic. I'll go to PEI or, Nova Scotia or New Brunswick. But I'm sorry, once fall hits, I don't want to be there. I'm not going to go to Newfoundland. God bless the Newfies. I mean, I love y'all, but I'm certainly not going to travel there to go see an iceberg. I want warmth. That's where I'm going. I'm about ready to say, you know what? Fuck it all. See y'all. Let me go live somewhere where I can live for $10 a day on a beach somewhere. Maybe if it is Mexico, like all the fucking Mexicans are leaving, let's go to Mexico. We can drive. We will find a way. We can find a way. There's I am certainly not going to be flying for another couple years anyways. But there's ways for us to get through things. That's how I look at it. There's got to be a way. But that's what you're going to find. You're going to find a lot of people are going to, you can go down to Mexico, then lose all your or pretend you lose your identification, come across, let's go to Trinidad. They're locked down. Let's go to an island let's just go. I don't know. But, and then you could cross the border and they will put you up in a hotel, and you don't need to get a COVID test. You don't need to get anything. Plus they give you money. So we could cross the border and come back in the United States, and they're going to give us a bunch of shit. It's just, I don't know. Crazy. It's a crazy world that we're living in, and it's crazy shit that's coming down for us. And, when we look at this full moon that is happening on April 26th, which is Monday, and it's called the wind moon. I think that's funny, as it's snowing here. That's going to be the beginning of a lot more crazy shit coming in for us. And you're going to hear the news. You're going to hear some crazy info that's going to come through. My husband died, my wife died, my kids died. Somebody died because I got the vaccine, and now they got COVID, and I'm fine. I think part of my thing too. I also I also had some wine last night to try and calm my brain. But it's like having that conversation with God and saying, "What the fuck, God? Like, really, what the fuck is going on here?" And it's like I got like these shoulder shrugs, like this, me, there's things that you guys have to start taking care of that you have not been taking care of. There are parts of your world that you have not um taken care of. And I'm just like, yeah. And nobody, and he says, it's like nobody's without sin, because we all are on the backs of one another, and we're all play in the backs of those who are less privileged. If you have a cell phone, a computer, my microphone, everything, this is made by cheap labor. So we all have to pay that. We all have to own that. And in owning that, that allows for the change to happen. And only in that, and only in that can we have the change. When we own that truth, when we own the truth, and we come in and we say, yeah, I get it. I respect that. And begin to make what we need to make as changes within our own individual selves, and allowing for that light to spread out, then the changes and the impacts happen. There we go, my lovely, beautiful soul family. Shake my head. I shake my head, and as the Empress came out today, and she came out in her beauty and saying, "Here we go. There is so much abundance and beauty there for you. You have to own the truth," says the Justice card reversed. And sometimes with the Tower reversed, we have to really be stripped down even more till we really realize what we are truly losing. But it's only then that we start to speak up and start to say, oh my God, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. So that's where, that's where we're at. That's where we're at, people. Moon in Virgo, you're going to feel like you have to get things done. So let's get things done, whatever it is, whatever you need to clear off your plate. Let's go for it. And keep taking those steps ahead, one step ahead, one step in front of the other. And sending you out so much love and blessings today. Thank you so much for joining me and being a part of my day. Those who are, if you are not on my YouTube page, please go and like and subscribe on my YouTube. I'm wanting to get up to over 1,000 people. That's my goal. If you're not a part of my Patreon, look into my Patreon. It's at the Guru Mama. Plus, you can order a full moon reading, which is on April 26th, and you'll receive your full moon reading. They're $25. And the sun, moon, and rising sign workshop is $33. So if you are wanting to be a part of the sun, moon, and rising sign workshop. So much love, people. Have a fabulous one. And watch that someone might try and piss you off today, too. So just watch that, because with Mars at 29, yeah. So blessings to you all. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Blessed be everybody, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Blessed be.